Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering Sirach chapters 16 through 19. Yeah, totally. Yeah, we got this.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And if we don't, then that sucks. But
we probably have a lot of episodes ahead of us.
Yeah, we do.
We're gonna get it down.
Yeah, So you've been reaching out to a Sirach scholar.
Yes. So hopefully he comes on the show soon, preferably before we finish Sirach. Although I think on the 1st of August is when we are starting Isaiah, and we are having Dr. Josh from Digital Hammurabi.
Wonderful.
Yeah, join us for that. So
That's going to be cool.
yes, it will.
Yeah, well, so today we're covering these chapters. Anything to say about the sections that we're covering before we get into it, or even this section alone?
No, really not much to say on that at all. There's just more individual verse commentary.
Okay. Well, this is a thing about free will and responsibility. It started with chapter 15, verse 11. And now we're picking it back up with 16:1.
Yes, and this section is apparently subtitled in the Vulgate, "On Wicked Children."
Ooh.
So that's going to be fun. Let's talk about your evil children.
All right. Well, let's get into it. 16:1.
Oh, wait,
I
what
have
translation?
the
Okay.
Anchor Bible version of the Wisdom of Ben Sirach, a new translation with notes by Patrick W. Scahan, introduction and commentary by Alexander A. DeLilla.
Hopefully we're pronouncing that right. Probably not.
Probably not.
Maybe Delia, I don't know.
It depends.
Yeah. And then I have the Wisdom of Ben Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus, translation by W.O.E. Osterley.
Yes, we also have Eerdman's commentary on the Bible.
We do, and the New Interpreter's Bible Commentary.
Yep.
Those are the things that we will be using.
So without further ado, let's hop into it.
Yes.
16:1. Do not yearn for worthless children or rejoice in wicked offspring. You know, these worthless children. It reminds me of the KJV when it talks about, like, what was it? Baal worshipers or something, where it calls them worthless people.
Yeah, no, it was, I know what you're talking about. It wasn't Baal worshippers, though. It was something else.
It was some other god.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're worthless people in the KJV.
Yeah. Maybe it was Baal. I forget which one it was, but yeah, it was some other god.
Mm-hmm.
That god of the deep, what was his name again?
It could be Baal. It could be Baphomet.
Starts with a D, maybe.
I would start with a D.
I don't know. It's just
Are you thinking of Dagon?
Yeah.
It's not Dagon.
It's not Dagon. Dagon only gets brought up like once.
Well, there's like a
So
whole
far.
thing about Dagon, yeah.
I mean, like, with what we've covered, there wasn't much about
There wasn't
Dagon.
too much, no.
It's just another guy.
Anyways, many though they be, rejoice not in them if they have not the fear of the Lord. Count not on their length of life, have no hope in their future. For one can be better than 1,000, rather die childless than have impious children.
Yeah, and of course it was very important it's very important in Jewish culture to have kids and to pass on that family lineage.
Oh, this
genetic
explains
line.
so much about how your parents regard you.
What? Are you talking about me specifically?
Yeah,
or-
you specifically. Have no hope for their future.
Nope. And also the translation that Osterley has, you had worthless in verse 1, and Osterley had unprofitable.
All right. Now, after this next verse, verse 4, there is a stanza break.
Okay. And just whenever you get done with verse 4, let me know.
Okay. Through one wise person, a city can be peopled. Through a clan of rebels, it becomes desolate. That's the end of verse 4.
Yeah, so the point here is that See, the translation here says, from one that is childless, but who feareth the Lord, a city is peopled. But through a race of treacherous men, it is desolated. So from Erdman's commentary here, there may lie behind verse 4's reference to, and apparently they take the other translation, one intelligent person, a reference to Simon, the high priest of Sirach's own time, who we learned about in Maccabees.
Yeah.
Second Maccabees, I think.
Yeah.
Whom he praises in 51 through 31, and who stood firm against the wicked Tobiads. He would have seen his exploits with his own eyes, which would give point to verse 5. So yeah, go ahead and read verse 5.
Many such things my eye has seen, even more than these has my ear heard.
Exactly.
Yes. Against a sinful band, fire is enkindled. Upon a godless people, wrath flames forth. He forgave not the princes of old, who were rebellious in their might. He spared not the neighbors of Lot. Ooh, some poetry there.
Yeah, good reference to Sodom.
Mm-hmm. Abominable in their pride. Nor did he spare the doomed people who were dispossessed because of their sin, nor the 600,000 foot soldiers who went to their graves for the arrogance of their hearts. When did that happen?
So yeah, there's a good bit of commentary here. So let's first take a look at what Erdman's has to say about this. So the doomed nation in 16:9 is probably the Canaanites dispossessed by the Hebrews. The 600,000 foot soldiers represents those whom Moses led in the desert after the Exodus. Remember, 600,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exodus 12:37 and Numbers 11:21, all of which refer to the people of Moses led in the desert after the Exodus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that is who we are talking about there.
Okay.
Who Sirach is talking about.
All right. And had there been but one stiff-necked person.
Oh yeah, stiff-necked. That came up a lot, right?
Yeah.
In that entire narrative.
Heart and stiff-necked. Those are the two we've heard a ton.
And it hasn't come up in a little while.
Yeah, definitely.
It were a wonder had he gone unpunished, for mercy and anger alike are with him who remits and forgives, but also pours out wrath. Great as his mercy is his punishment. He judges people, each according to his deeds. A criminal does not escape with his plunder. A just person's hope God does not leave unfulfilled. Except all those people in the Bible. And
whatever.
yeah. Whoever, also all those people who wrote those Psalms that.
Oh, yeah, definitely those laments.
Yeah. Whoever does good has his reward, which each receives according to his deeds. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh so that he did not recognize him whose acts were manifest under the heavens. His mercy was seen by all his creatures, and his light and his darkness he apportioned to humankind. That's a weird apologetic, that he hardened the heart of Pharaoh so that he did not recognize him, even though his mercy is seen by all creatures. Right.
Let's see what Osterley's translation tells us.
15 through 16.
Yeah. It's interesting that you have 15 through 16. 16 here is not... 16 is not even in here. Yeah. And then, it's funny, because of the scanning, the note isn't even there for verse 16. So if you have a note on verse 16, that would be cool. But I'm going to read from here. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, who knew him not, whose works were manifest under the heavens. His mercies are seen by all his creation, and his light and his darkness hath he appointed unto the children of men.
All right.
Is there no note there?
No. It just says that Pharaoh's heart was hardened in Exodus.
Okay, duh.
Yeah.
I'm just envisioning this guy with cardiac problems and a really long stiff neck. Because these analogies
Don't
keep
we all?
coming up, and
Yeah.
that's like the guy who God hates or something.
Yeah.
Really stubborn.
There is a good bit of commentary, which I guess I'll read after verse 23 here. Say not, I am hidden from God in heaven, who is me in mind. Among so many people I pass unnoticed. What am I in the universe of spirits? Behold!
Behold!
Behold.
The heavens, the heaven of heavens, the earth and the abyss tremble at his visitation. The very roots of the mountains, the earth's foundations, at his mere glance, quiver and shake. Of me, therefore, he will take no thought. With my ways, who will concern himself? If I sin, no eye will see me. If all in secret I am disloyal, who is to know? Who tells him of just deeds, or what expectation is there, since the end is far off? Such are the thoughts of the senseless, which only the foolish knave will think.
You know, at any point in this section,
Mhm.
did we get to a giants of old?
No.
The term?
I
No?
didn't see any giants of old. What verse is that in according to that?
I don't see it. It doesn't even give a verse, but it does say that the avoidance of the Hebrew word for giants. And the thing, okay, here's actually something I wanted to mention. So the commentator here notes that the word for giants is Nephilim.
Mhm.
But if we remember from Enoch,
Those are distinct groups.
yes, the Nephilim were the children of the giants.
Yeah, maybe the commentator there is full of shit, man.
Maybe, or maybe there's, more to this because
I
I
think
don't
there's
know. I don't know the
confusion in the
Hebrew.
ranks.
There also might be that, yes.
There's also the Ephraim,
hmm
right? And then there,
Or the Rephaim, isn't it? No.
There's the
No, I think-
Rephaim, too. That's a different thing entirely.
well,
okay.
some Kabbalistic groups identified the Rephaim with the Eliod.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the groups.
Well,
so
either way.
it goes the Nephilim, then the giants, then the Eliod, and maybe the Eliod are the Rephaim.
Okay. But according to this commentator, the avoidance of the Hebrew word for giants may represent Ben Sir's aversion to speculation about their role in the fall of humankind that characterized the Enochic literature and the Book of Jubilees. Ben Sir's choice of giants of old may also allude to the myths preserved in Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel 28.
I've also heard in different places that references like this to like giants of old, right, could be to other like heroes, like heroic traditions. Like Gilgamesh is a hero, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I've heard that some manuscripts have Gilgamesh listed as a Nephilim at some point.
Yes,
But
and
I can't affirm that
We've
because
also
I
read-
don't have access to those.
we've read in other places that Nephilim can also mean greatly raised, heroic, and definitely deceased people.
Mhm.
And like, I remember reading
No.
that somewhere.
That was you're thinking of Elohim. Yeah, because that are you thinking of Samuel when he was raised up?
No. I'm thinking of a Greek myth that has to do with Tartarus.
Oh, because in
The Nephilim of Tartarus are totally different, I think.
I have no idea about the Nephilim of Tartarus.
Yeah. I have
We've
no
talked
idea
about
about
this,
that.
you and I, Lawrence, but never mind.
No, I don't think we did.
It's fine that you don't remember things.
Anyways, the final stanza of this section, not this chapter, deals with a recurring question. In such a vast and marvelous and mysterious universe, why would God take thought of insignificant me? In stark contrast
Little old me.
to the thought of verse 17, compare Psalm 139, 7 through 18. The questions in verse 17 are often found in the hearts or on the lips of people in distress, perhaps with a greater poignancy nowadays because our knowledge of the incredible expanse and complexity of the known universe with its numberless heavenly bodies. Verses 18 and 19 seem to be a parenthesis because the question of verse 17 continues in 20 through 22. In verse 18, the heaven of the heaven is God's abode, the heavens, the place of the sun, moon, and stars, the earth, the habitation of human beings, plants, and animals, and the abyss, Hebrew tehom, as in Genesis 7:11, the subterranean waters. These were the 4 parts of the universe, according to the ancient Near Eastern mind. For the expression of heaven of heavens, this is found in Deuteronomy 10:14, 1 Kings 8:27, 2 Corinthians 12:2. Paul uses the expression the third of heaven. So there's also like other points in the Bible where there is earthquakes because of God.
Classic.
We've run into one of those with Moses.
Yeah, where the earth, well, it wasn't, said to be an earthquake, but the earth did like split open and engulf everybody and then close back up.
A fissure at the minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was an interesting bit, I thought, because I'm not sure to what degree that's true, that like the whole universe is broken down into 4 parts and the ancient Near Eastern mind.
It did go in tandem with those 4 elements, so it's not that bad.
Well, the 4 elements were more of a Greek concept than.
Well, they're Far East as well, and probably
They're Mediterranean.
They're everywhere, man, and sometimes they add metal. If you look at Far Eastern lore,
Well, we know that they had been dealing with the Greeks by this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They were already Hellenized.
Yeah. And they were also in communication with Sparta in Maccabees, talking about how they had a relationship beforehand that was of dubious origin.
Sure.
So
No, I thought, weren't they good with the Spartans?
yeah, they were good with the Spartans, but you remember during our episodes we talked about all the history of how in their first letter to the Spartans that pops up in Maccabees, they refer to previous dealings with the Spartans.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So they probably have quite a bit of Hellenization by this point in time. So you might expect to see some Greek parallels.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not doubting the Greek parallel thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like when we were talking about the Near East,
It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, this chapter is almost over. We're in a different section, though. Divine wisdom and mercy as seen in the creation of humankind. Hearken to me, my son, take my advice. Apply your mind to my words. I will pour out by measure the spirit that I have and impart knowledge in a careful way. When God created the first of his works as he made them, assigned their tasks, he ordered for all time what they were to do and their domains from generation to generation.
So,
I'm in the middle of a verse.
okay, finish the verse then.
Okay. They were not to hunger nor grow weary nor ever desist from their rounds.
So, good bit of commentary here. So the detached language and mathematical precision, especially with the whole like measuring of the spirit kind of thing, emphasize the divine plan. Kosmeo, to order, and that's the Greek. Kosmeo, to order or to arrange. In Greek, from which comes the noun cosmos. That's the one that's used there. Yeah, because this section was in Greek.
Of course,
the part that you're at now.
Yeah, of course. Now we know that like cosmic bodies, I guess, planets, stars.
Yeah. But that's where
they don't continue in their rounds forever. Right?
Yeah, but it would seem that way if you had a small scope.
Well, yeah. I mean, at the time you might think that.
Yeah.
But obviously now further information has shown us that that's incorrect.
Yeah. Oh, apparently for verse 24, the Greek text has a vocative in verse 24, my son, lacking in both Hebrew and Syriac.
Yeah, that was included in this translation.
Ooh, interesting.
They did note that it's Greek. I'm maybe in the commentary. Yeah, in verse 24a, my son is not found in either of those two. Ben Sira encourages his students to listen, basically. Okay.
There's actually kind of more here, especially on from the beginning in verse 26.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm sure has already been noted on the show, that in Genesis 1, it says in the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot. But it should be translated as when. That's probably a better translation here. And actually there's a good bit of there's some cool notes here on this. So the Greek text, kaisai, judged, is a mistake for taisai, created, for which the Hebrew has an infinitive construct form of the verb bara, to create, a verb used only with God as subject in the Bible, whereas Genesis 1:1 has bera sit bara Elohim. Ben Sira used the syntactically correct bibrael, when God created, plus meros, from the beginning.
All right. Well, let's finish off this chapter then. Not one should ever crowd its neighbor, nor should they ever disobey his word. He's still talking about, celestial bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they do crash into each other very occasionally. Then the Lord looked upon the earth and filled it with his good things. Its surface he covered with all manner of life, which must return into it again. That's the end of chapter 16. If you're enjoying the stream so far, give us a like.
Share it around.
Share it with your friends, family, neighbors.
Especially if they're not your friends. If they're not your friends, definitely send them this link.
Ooh, if there are protests around you, hand out Milwaukee Atheist flyers at the protests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah, that'll
Great
work.
Advertising. It'll go over well.
Be careful.
Please be careful.
Yeah.
And also, you probably shouldn't do that.
Probably. Though, the paper airplane idea.
Yes, that's a good one. Paper airplanes.
Oh.
Thank you.
There you go.
I needed that. Anyways, here's this. And here's this.
Wonderful.
17 starts right here also. Yeah, it's like because we discussed in the first episode on Sirach that there are just weird divisions. They're not exactly chapter by chapter, and we do this show chapter by chapter, so we couldn't exactly break it up that way. But either way, how about we hop into chapter 17?
All right.
All right, chapter 17.
Tell me when you're
What
done with the
chapter is
first
it again?
verse.
Say it more.
Chapter 17.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The Lord created man from the earth and turned him thereunto again. That's verse 1.
All right. So, as already noted, Sirach did not believe in life after death. This is underlined in 17:1. Human beings return to the earth again. Although humans thus have only a fixed number of days, they have authority over all the earth and are in God's image and superior to beasts and birds. They
Of course.
have God-given powers of intellect. This is all going to be covered later on, but basically this is an exhortation of that idea.
Mm.
Wow. So if anyone runs into aliens, they'll be like, nah, I could just kill them. They're not chosen by God.
They're not chosen by God.
Jeez, we'll be the xenophobic aliens in space when we meet those other 36 races that might exist.
Days by number and a set time gave he them, and he gave them authority over the things upon her. I like how there's the note, i.e. the earth. He clothed them with strength like unto himself, and accorded to his own image made he them. According to his own image made he them.
Yeah.
And he put the fear of them upon all flesh, and caused them to have power over beasts and birds. So this next verse 5.
It's set aside in this version too.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. So I'm just going to read it because it's in here.
Mm-hmm.
They received of the Lord the use of 5 powers, but as a 6th, he also accorded them the gift of understanding. And as a 7th, the word, the interpreter of his powers.
So the Greek concept of the 5 senses, sight, touch, smell, sound, and taste, together with 2 additional faculties from Stoic philosophy, knowledge and reason, have evoked a gloss in verse 5, perhaps prompted by the listing of gifts in verse 6.
And there's way more than those verses. Sorry,
there's way more than those senses.
Yeah, I was going to say senses. I meant to say senses, but I said verses because I was looking at a verse.
Oops.
Yep, horrible. But yeah, there's way more senses.
Yeah, like, how you can stand upright and you know that you're standing upright instead of always falling over?
I don't know that at all.
That is a sense.
I'm not going to have much commentary until you get to verse 17, or at the end of verse 17.
See, that's interesting. There's a lot of really weird stuff in here, actually. So I do have some notes on these next few verses, because the next verse that pops up, it should be 6, right? No, it's 7 in here.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 7. So here's verse 7.
And then when's verse 6?
It's after verse 7.
Oh, amazing.
Obviously. He filled them with skillfulness of understanding, and he showed them good things and evil. And then, verse 6, counsel and tongue and eyes and ears and heart gave he them to understand. So there are some notes here. So for verse 7, the Sirach reads, with insight and understanding filled he their heart. This is to be preferred, apparently. And then for verse 6, this is also what the Sirach reads, he created for them tongues, and then the rest of this. This is also to be preferred. And then I wonder if there's maybe any commentary on why 7 and 6 are switched around, or are they different in yours? Because verse 7 starts with he filled
all
them.
they say is 5 is a purely Greek gloss, seems to have been prompted by the 5 items enumerated in verse 6 and by the subsequent text of verses 7 through 10. It has nothing to commend it.
Weird. Okay. Looks like there's a little bit more here. So also, verse 8, the 2 parts of the verse are switched around. So apparently it's first it's 8b and then 8a.
Can somebody just make this go in the right order?
That'd be
please?
nice. Or maybe this is the right order, but that's just how they were
originally.
That's how the
They
tradition initially was upheld, and then they just switched it to fit some older manuscripts probably, or some better manuscripts, I should say. To show them the majesty of his works, he set his eye upon their hearts. And there is a note for that as well. So the Syriac and some Greek manuscripts read, and that they might glory in his wondrous acts. This is to be preferred. The order of verses 6 through 8, as given above, follows that of Syriac, which is more logical than the order in Greek. Okay, so got it. There is a different Greek and Syriac order.
Okay.
So, verse 9, that they might declare the wonders of his works and praise his holy name. He set before them knowledge, and the law of life gave he them for a heritage. He made an everlasting covenant with them, and showed them his judgments. Their eyes beheld his glorious majesty, and their ear heard his glorious voice. And he said unto them, beware of all unrighteousness. And he commanded them, each concerning his neighbor. And that's the end of verse 14.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have much commentary in any of these until you get to the end of verse 17.
Bummer. All right.
But obviously this is talking about the laws of Moses.
Yeah. Their ways are ever before him. They are not hid from his eyes.
Ooh, all their actions are clear as the sun to him. His eyes are ever upon their ways.
That is quite different.
Oh, no. I messed
That
up.
was verse 15?
That's verse, no, that's verse 19.
Okay, but it's just very similar.
Yeah, it's just very similar.
Okay. From their youth up, all men's ways were towards evil. Neither were they able to make their hearts to be of flesh instead of stone. And that entire verse 16, has brackets around it.
Yeah, it's, I guess, only found in Greek.
Okay. Oh, so is that what the brackets mean? Only in Greek? Okay.
Well, it has a G2, and it's apparently on a previous page. It's a gloss built up out of Genesis 8:21 and Ezekiel 11:19 and 36:26.
Gotcha. Classic.
Yeah.
For every nation he appointed a ruler, but Israel is the Lord's portion.
Is that the end of 17?
That is the end of 17.
Okay, so verse 17 refers to ancient speculation about Israel's special relationship to God. Whereas God appointed secular rulers for the other nations, or angelic mediators with Yahweh on their behalf, Ben Sira observes as God's portion, Israel has direct access to God. In short, Israel exists as the private people of God. And there's a bit more Eerdmans.
Wonderful.
Yep. The meaning of verse 17 is unclear. Probably Sirach is saying that other nations have secular rulers, whereas Israel has God as sovereign. In his day, Israel had no king as head of state for several centuries. So, what do you think about that, Lawrence? Is it an exhortation of the Jews above all others? Or
yes.
Is it... Yeah, that's what I thought.
Whom, and this is another one with the brackets around it, whom he brought up as his firstborn with severity, yet loving them and imparting to them the light of his love, he forsook them not. No, I think he did. All their works are as the sun before him, and his eyes are continually upon their ways. Their iniquities are not hid from him, and all their sins are before the Lord. But the Lord, being merciful, and knowing them to be made in his own image, spared them, and forsook them not, nor cast them off. No. The righteousness of men is to him as a signet, and the mercy of man he preserveth as the apple of an eye, granting repentance to his sons and daughters.
So this signet, Ben Sira's high esteem for good works shows in the metaphors employed in verse 22, where both a signet ring and the apple of the eye describe almsgiving. The signet ring or seal worn on the finger or around the neck, when pressed in wax, left a person's insignia on important papers.
Yeah, it's a way to sign things. And in fact, recently, we actually found the ring, the signet ring or the court ring, whatever you want to call it, of Pontius Pilate.
Oh, that's cool.
Isn't it?
That means we can verify whether or not certain documents were pressed with that ring.
That is true. I don't know if we have any of those documents or not, but we have the ring.
Yeah, then we can verify.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I thought so too. That was a while ago, though.
Yeah.
It was recently, but a while ago.
Well,
Like
recently
a year or
in
something.
biblical terms.
All right, let's continue then. Unless you had more commentary to add.
No, I got nothing until verse 28.
Gotcha. Afterwards, he will rise up and recompense them, and retribution will he bring upon their own head. Howbeit to them that repent doth he grant a return, and comforteth them that lose hope. Turn unto the Lord, and forsake sins. Supplicate before his face, and lessen offense. Turn unto the Most High, and turn away from iniquity. For he himself will lead thee out of darkness unto the light of salvation. And vehemently hate the abominable thing. Who will praise the Most High in Hades, in the place of those who live and give him praise. So,
Yeah.
of course, the word Hades there.
The netherworld. It's going back to that idea that dead people can't pray, right? Which we
Oh, yeah. What are they good for? They do nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
we saw in Psalms and also in Proverbs.
Yeah,
I
we
think.
did. Or we already saw it in...
Or in Sirach already.
Yeah.
Because we chose to read them both at the same time.
We did, didn't we?
Ugh.
Thanksgiving perisheth from the dead as from one that existeth not. But he that liveth and is in health praiseth the Lord. Yeah, so that's the kind of the idea we were just talking about. And that was verse 28, by the way.
Yeah, Eerdmans points out, the dead are truly of no use, and not everything is within human capability. We'll see in verse 30 and 31. Because of human mortality, even the sun can be eclipsed. Yet the difference between the host of the heaven and the dust and ashes of human existence remains huge.
How great is the mercy of the Lord, and his forgiveness to them that turn unto him. For all things cannot be in men, for a son of man is not immortal. What is brighter than the sun? Yet this faileth. And how much more man who hath the inclination of flesh and blood? Weird phrasing, but okay. He looketh upon the host of the height of heaven, and on all men who are earth and ashes. So, of course, the earth and ashes thing speaks to their immortality. Sorry, their mortality.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they're going to be. And we've seen that before, too, in Ben Sira, I think, right? Or in Proverbs. One of those. They're so similar. But we've seen, like, the whole, like, turning into ashes and stuff.
Yeah, the dust to dust, ashes to ashes.
Yeah.
It's pretty Jewish.
Pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, it's found throughout the scriptures, basically.
And also, that was the end of chapter 17.
Well, hey, if you're enjoying the stream so far, give us a like, share us around, get a lot of people in here to, like, complain and stuff, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
whatever.
What do people do in chats?
I don't know. They tend to chat. That's the idea.
Yeah, they chat.
Yeah. I don't know what that's all about. I don't talk to anybody.
Never?
I've never talked to anybody.
I never even learned how to talk.
What?
What?
Get me those commentaries.
Okay. There you go.
Thank you. So we can hop into chapter 18.
Yep.
So let's all enjoy
Someone
watching.
wants a video about the Textus Receptus.
I mean, I've covered the Textus Receptus, not like super in depth. It was covered in the video on the KJV. It was also covered in the video on the Trinity and the Johannine, and the Johannine epistles video for Forged Fiction. Yeah, it was covered in quite a bit.
Okay. Well,
So there's stuff out there.
there you go. If you want to hear more about the Textus Receptus, there's 3 videos for you to look at.
Yeah, I mean, I could always make a whole thing just about the Textus Receptus.
But you could do that about a lot of manuscripts.
I
couldn't
mean,
you?
yes, I could. Textus Receptus it stands out, honestly, because it was just so influential.
Mhm.
But yeah, I might get to that after I'm done with some other projects. Yeah. So, anyways,
Chapter 18. Any commentary right off the bat?
no.
Okay. We're still in the section on divine wisdom and mercy.
My favorite, divine wisdom and mercy.
Yes. The Eternal is the judge of all alike. The Lord is just, and there is no other than he. Verse 2a and 2b are split up here. 2a is there. 2b is further down the page in a broken off section. I assume that is because it was only in like 1 or 2 manuscripts.
That is completely possible.
Mm-hmm. Whom has he made equal to... Oh, no. 3 is also down there. Wow. Weird. He controls the world within the span of his hand, and everything obeys his will.
He's got the whole world in his hands.
Oh, that's where that song lyric is probably.
Well, I don't know if it's from there
pretty
exactly.
close to
Pretty
like
close.
Atlas, if
Pretty
nothing
close.
else.
For he in his might is the king of all, separating what is holy among them from what is profane. Whom has he made equal to describing his works? And who can probe his mighty deeds? Who can measure his majestic power or exhaust the tale of his mercies? One cannot lessen nor increase nor penetrate the wonders of the Lord. So you can't have any measurement or really reference to it at all.
Yeah, because it's the power of God. It's
Yeah.
it's enormous. Can't really grasp it all.
Wouldn't that make the entire task of doing any kind of theology completely pointless, though?
Maybe you can understand some of it because remember, like when kings, right?
Mhm.
They are granted some of this knowledge, and they use it to administer justice.
But they also command in the Tanakh that you shouldn't test God.
Well, I wouldn't say that's a test of God.
Well, I mean, a measurement is a form of test. I guess in a
Maybe
way
he's saying
of
that even if
speaking.
you could test God, maybe it would. Yeah, maybe it would be saying even if you could test God, you shouldn't.
Mm.
Maybe that's how we should put that all together.
All right. Okay. When a person ends, he is only beginning. And when he stops, he is still bewildered. I thought he didn't believe in life after death. But apparently...
Which verse is that?
Verse 7. Apparently, when a person ends, he is only beginning. I'm going to see...
When a man hath finished, then doth he but begin.
Well, what does that mean?
I don't know. I have no idea what that means.
As he doesn't believe in life after death.
And I don't really have any commentary here on verse 7.
Mm.
Well, but the size of God's compassion can be appreciated only when one realizes his power and majesty. Hence, the opening verses concentrate on the wonders of the Lord and his majestic power before turning to the weakness of human beings. When they have finished, they are just beginning.
Okay.
Okay, I think I'm getting this.
The point of verse 7, which employs hyperbole to dramatize the conviction expressed in verse 6, is that when a person ends contemplating the wonders of the Lord, in order to penetrate them, he is only beginning. And when he stops altogether, he is still bewildered by the impossibility of the task.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not that he dies. It's when they're done
Yeah.
doing that task.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. What is a human being? Of what worth is he? The good, the evil in him? What are these?
That's a good question, Sirach. I have also been wondering this.
It's subjective. Thanks for asking.
What's a human being? Well,
What's the worth?
well, according to some legal documents, it could be like $37,000. According to one court case, I think that was referenced in some philosophy lecture series I was watching.
20 shekels.
They calculated the worth of a human life as $200,000. So.
Oh yeah, and like
Organs.
yeah, when you have organs and maybe if you just have the body into raw material, how much all that material would cost. I've seen stuff like this. Yeah.
Mhm. So you can calculate.
Well, sure.
And if we're just going by liquid and volume and like actual composition and not the arrangement of the composition, you're worthless. You're less than a couple cents. You're
Yes.
mostly water and minerals. Enjoy.
Yes. Got it.
Yep. The sum of a person's days is great if it reaches 100 years. Like a drop of the sea's water, like a grain of sand, so are these few years among the days of eternity.
Yeah. Nothing in comparison to infinity. Yeah. Accurate.
Yeah. That is why the Lord is patient with human beings and showers his mercy upon them. He sees and understands that their death is grievous, and so he forgives them all the more. Oh, yeah, you died. I forgive you.
Well, probably for their sins and transgressions from before.
Yeah,
Not for dying. That would be a stupid thing to forgive somebody for.
I guess. But he forgives them more because their death is grievous.
Yeah, apparently. Do you think God understands death?
How could God understand
I don't know.
death?
Okay, we're getting into some weird shit.
Look, if God can't die, then God can't have any conception.
The experience of death, yeah.
It's inaccessible.
I have no idea. Maybe there's some theological stuff for that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Let's continue.
A person may be merciful to his neighbor, but the Lord's mercy reaches all flesh, reproving, admonishing, teaching, as a shepherd guides his flock. That is saying that people who believe in all that religious stuff are sheep.
Well, I think it's you could interpret it that way.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about
to interpret it that way as well.
I think it's more about, caretaking and stuff.
Oh, but it's much more fun the other way.
You're right.
Merciful to those who accept his guidance, who are diligent in his precepts. Now we're getting into a different section.
Almsgiving.
Yeah, it runs 1815 through 1917. I'll hand it off to you at 19:1.
Sure.
This is prudential warnings in the Anchor Bible.
All right.
Yep. My son, to your charity add no reproach, nor spoil any gift by harsh words. Like dew that abates a burning wind, so does a word transform a gift.
A kind word is better than a gift, but a truly gracious individual unites both word and action.
You know what would be a great gift?
What's that?
If our viewers were to hop on to our Patreon and pay us money, or hop on to our Amazon wish list and buy us books,
Or they
or-
donate.
or if they were to donate to our $666 donation drive, where upon the completion thereof, we will get a thetan meter.
Yes, and we will test our thetans, all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be a great gift. You're right.
Yeah, it would be a great gift. And you can even add words in with it. Okay, let's keep going. Keep going. Sometimes the word means more than the gift. Both are offered by a kindly person. Only a fool upbraids before giving. A grudging gift wears out the expectant eyes. Be informed before speaking. Before sickness, prepare the cure. Before you are judged, examine yourself. And at the time of scrutiny, you will meet with forgiveness.
Yeah, so this section is now getting into a foresight thing. So we already had this thing on almsgiving and, just being good in word and deed. And then this section, titled Foresight in Osterley's translation, there is a decent amount of stuff here. So this brief unit, so 1819 through 29, this brief unit may also have been inspired by the poem on divine mercy and forgiveness in 18:1 through 14. The Sirach of verse 19, which was the first verse in the section, urges readers to consult a physician because illness was thought to strike those who had offended God. One could not get well until obtaining forgiveness. Physicians did not fit into this understanding of sin and its consequences. Physicians did not fit into this understanding of sin and its consequences very well, for they interfered with that process. Ben Sira wrestles with this vexing problem in 38:1 through 15, where he combines the traditional view of sin's relationship to sickness with a more modern concept of doctors and medicines. So that's really interesting that, the Syriac had a different, I guess you would call it, would it be a theology?
About
or maybe
seeing a doctor?
No, because if you're supposed to find the forgiveness, and seeing the doctor gets in the way. So I guess, depending on which...
it's a different dogma.
Different
it's
doctrine.
Doctrine.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, I don't know. But yeah, it's just interesting that the Syriac has something else. But anyways, we can continue.
Okay. Before you fall, humble yourself. When you have sinned, show repentance. Delay not to forsake sins, neglect it not till you are in distress. Do not set a time for abandoning sin. Remember that death will not delay. Let nothing prevent the prompt payment of your vows. Wait not to fulfill them when you are dying. Before making a vow, have the means to fulfill it. Be
Makes
not
sense.
the one who puts the Lord to the test.
There we go.
There you
Testing
go.
the Lord.
Yeah, but I guess this means that you can't get mortgages, right? If you need a mortgage for a house or
No
something,
credit debt at all, please.
Yeah, no credit debt. Right?
I mean, well, you're certainly not wrong.
So, I know that some groups of Muslims do take a stance against going into mortgages or credit debts.
Did not know that.
Yeah, but that's only because I've been watching a bunch of the ex-Muslim YouTubers trying to find people for the upcoming show.
Right.
So maybe there's something like that here. I don't think that's in line with what's in the Tanakh, though, because the Tanakh gives specific rules for dealing with debts and says who you can put into debt and even that you can't charge ridiculous interest on other
which is
Jews.
actually I posted a picture of this on Twitter, but in the ancient Near East, debts would get so high that sometimes kings would have to just say, okay, you don't owe us anything. Because to take out a loan with ridiculously high interest would destroy people's lives. So they would just
clear.
Yeah, they're just okay, complete debt forgiveness. Don't have to do any of that anymore. Obviously you can't pay for this stuff. And
we should do that.
Yeah, we should. And then later on in the ancient Near East, they didn't do that. They didn't do the debt forgiveness, and then people left the nations and just started being semi-nomadic. They made their own little communities.
Oh.
Yeah, to get away from those regimes.
Hey, that's fine.
Yeah. So I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah. So, but whereas the previous rules for debts have been about issuing debts and interest rates, right? This is advice about going into debt. But though I don't see how you can go into a debt if you have the means to pay off the debt before you go into the debt.
Well, then you won't be in debt. Maybe if you have the means but haven't paid it.
You can
yet.
mortgage, basically. You can't debt, but you can mortgage, because if you do mortgage, you have the means to pay it back. That's your house.
Well,
You can loan.
yeah,
I
you
suppose.
can
Yeah, there you go.
exchange the home for a mortgage or
Yeah.
something, I guess. But it's like the one situation.
Yeah, pawn shops still work.
But but then
Why
there's
are we talking about mortgages?
I don't know how this is
we're talking
a confusing
about
ruling on
prompt payment of your vows. You can't wait to fulfill them when you're dying. You have to have the means to fulfill it before you make a vow,
Sure.
right? And that would include debts,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, see, we
It
were
would.
pumping it in, but it's already, I'm sure it's, I don't know if the vagueness helps it or hurts it, is all I'm thinking here.
But how do you really know in many situations whether you actually have the means to fulfill a vow?
I don't know. Maybe you think you do, but then you end up not because something else happens, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Think of wrath in the day of death, the time of punishment when he will hide his face. Remember the time of hunger in the time of plenty, poverty and want in the day of wealth. Between morning and evening the weather changes. Before the Lord all things are fleeting. The wise is circumspect in all things. When sin is rife, he keeps himself from wrongdoing. Any learned person should make wisdom known. He who attains to her should declare her praise. Those trained in her words must show their wisdom, pouring out proverbs in a careful way. So we're back to referring to wisdom as a woman, which they
Yes.
kind of
Wow.
they dropped it for a while.
They did.
A long
Huh.
time.
Well, he did, I guess. Go not after your lusts, but keep your desires in check.
So apparently, right before this verse, in the Greek, there is a title, Self-Control of the Disposition. A title that appeared at verse 15 in Codex Sinaiticus. Such headings occur elsewhere, as we have already noted. This section contains brief poems about sensual desire and gossip. The chapter division interrupts a unit of thought, verse 1, indicating the consequences of living beyond one's means. So yeah, this entire idea is just split up between two chapters.
Okay. If you satisfy your lustful appetites, they will make you the sport of your enemies. Have no joy in the pleasures of a moment, which bring on poverty redoubled. Become not a glutton and a wine-bibber with nothing in your purse. That's the end of the chapter.
You know, there's even more on this in Australia's version. So yeah, be not a squanderer and a drunkard, else will there be nothing in thy purse. But then it continues, for thou wilt become a snare unto thine own life and be much talked about. So another Greek gloss, that's what it looks like.
That's very odd. Okay, switch these over.
All right.
And
So
while you're covering the rest of this little poem here, I'll be right back.
What?
There's not really anything I can comment on there.
here's the weird thing. There totally is. Yep. Okay. So, I guess I'm going to, start the next chapter then.
Yeah, see you later, man. I gotta go.
Oh, all right. I guess I'm running the show by myself. I could totally do this. I got the charisma. I got the whatever it takes. I got the grit. Thank you. Grit. He that doeth his own will not become rich, and he that despiseth small things will become wholly poor. And then we get to a very classic piece of imagery. Wine and women make the heart lustful, and he that cleaveth to harlots will become more reckless. So, yeah, he as we have seen before, he puts a lot of things into, like, that he associates with harlots and prostitutes and women in general, honestly, like partying too. Really has a very negative view of these things, and we're back on the women thing. So, molder and worms will take possession of him, and a brazen soul will destroy its owner. So the molder and worms being a reference there to death. So,
Yes, debased conduct often brings venereal disease.
yeah, there's actually some more commentary on that in Erdman's, I think, which has another suggestion for what these things could mean.
Okay, we're at which verse?
It's in 19, and wine and women was verse 2, and then the molder and worms was verse 3.
Okay, so such indulgence leads to poverty. The phrase wine and woman has become proverbial. Decay and worms means untimely death. Some think this means venereal disease through sexual license, but there is no textual evidence.
All right. How about we continue? And this next section is called garrulousness. He that is hasty in reposing confidence is unwise, and he that erreth sinneth against his own soul. So I guess if you make a mistake, you sin against your own soul? All right, then. He that hath pleasure in his heart shall be condemned, but he that averteth his eye from pleasures crowneth his life. Okay, but these are referring to the pleasures from before. The bad pleasures, the ones that feel good, but they're bad. Don't do them. No harlots and wine and women for you.
Tell me when you get through verse 8.
Okay. He that controlleth his tongue liveth without strife, but he that hateth talk hath the less malice. So, of course, this is building off an idea that we saw in, was it in Proverbs? Or was it in Ben Sirach? About, waiting to speak. First listen to others and then take time.
Ben Sirach.
Well, there's also in Proverbs. I mean, you talk to the wise and gather your opinions, right? But you're not supposed to,
we were just
come
talking
to
about that. Yeah.
hard conclusions before you consult the wise.
Yeah.
So
Either way.
there you go.
Never repeat what is said, and thou wilt derive no disadvantage?
You don't say that again. I get it.
Yeah, that was verse 7. That's a weird one, because I repeat what is said a lot, but that's mostly just for clarification.
Okay.
You didn't need that.
Or maybe
You
I
should've
didn't
just
hear
got
it or something.
So gossip mongers, though they have a ready audience, are trusted by
Gossip.
no one and reviled by all. For one person can never be sure when one will become the subject of gossip from such persons. The point of verse 7. See also Proverbs 17:9 and 25:9 through 10. Gossip is vicious because, as Alexander Pope remarked, at every word a reputation dies.
Wow.
Gossip is tempting because it is vice enjoyed vicariously.
Yeah.
What is said in verse 7 is an echo of the famous saying of Hesiod, 8th century BC. If you say a bad thing, you may soon hear a worse thing said about you. This is from Works and Days.
And with us, it's just natural escalation of worse things. So don't say anything mean to anyone.
Okay. Speak not of it to a friend or foe, and unless it be a sin to thee, reveal it not. For he hath heard thee and observed thee, and in due time he will hate thee.
The Unit on Gossip urges those who hear unpleasant tales about others to put an end to the vicious rumor and to report what has been said only to the person about whom the gossip has revolved. The purpose is to warn that individual to be more circumspect or to repent if the gossip contained any truth. The one exception to remaining silent in verse 8 alludes to Leviticus 5:1, legislation concerning testimony when someone knows a fact that bears on another's guilt or innocence.
Hast thou heard anything? Let it die with thee. Be of good courage, it will not burst thee. A fool travaileth because of a word. Travaileth because of a word, even as a woman travaileth because of a child. As an arrow stuck in the fleshy thigh, so is a word in the belly of a fool. That's some good imagery.
What verse is that?
That was verse 12.
Verse 12.
Yeah, and this next section, starting with verse 13, is on friendship.
Okay. There's not commentary on it.
Friendship.
It's the
Say it.
It's the best thing ever. I can't help
Except for best
Yes,
friendship.
I know. It's better. It's better.
It was a little better. No, it's a lot better.
Shut up. No, we can't keep doing that.
Reprove a friend. It may be this is horrible. Reprove a friend. It may be he did it not. And if he have done anything, that he do it not again. Reprove a friend. It may be he said it not. And if he have said it, that he do it not again. Reprove a friend. Yet often there is slander, and believe not every word. One man slippeth, though unintentionally, and who hath not sinned with his tongue. I reprove. Oh, that's not even an I. No, that's just a fucking exclamation mark. Okay. Reprove thy neighbor before thou threaten, and give place to the law of the Most High. And then
a reference to Leviticus 19:17 through 18. Though you may have to reprove your fellow man, do not incur sin because of him. Take no revenge and cherish no grudge against your fellow countrymen. You shall love your neighbor as yourself.
Is there any commentary for verses 18 and 19? Because these are also bracketed. I'm guessing it's another gloss. Or just exist in one language.
There may be a note.
Well, I'll read it and you can find it.
There's no note and there's no comment.
Damn. But verses 18 and 19. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of acceptance with him.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah, I guess it's just 18 and then later in 19?
18 and 19 are set aside, actually,
Okay.
in a different section. Let me see. G2 inserts 2 bicola 18 through 19 before and adds 3 cola 20C through 21 after the opening bicolon of this new section.
Well
so
done.
this is a Greek manuscript thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And wisdom will gain love from him. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is life-giving instruction. And they who do the things that are pleasing unto him shall pluck the fruit of the tree of immortality. Back at another tree.
Yeah.
Do the things.
Well, the tree of life, which would give immortality.
Yeah.
Right. It's the only thing that separates us from God.
Apparently.
Go get that tree.
All wisdom is the fear of the Lord, and in all wisdom there is the fulfilling of the law. Wow. And the knowledge of his omnipotence. A servant that saith unto his Lord, I will not do according to thy will, though he do so afterwards, angereth him that feedeth him.
So this is in the Anchor Bible. This translates as the slave who says to his master, what pleases you, I will not do.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, okay. So that is a little bit different then. But the knowledge and wickedness is not wisdom. The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. And the counsel of sinners is not understanding. There is a wickedness, and the same is abomination. And there is a fool who lacketh wisdom.
So what verse is that?
That was 23.
Okay, there's resourcefulness that is detestable, while the fool may be free from sin. In Eerdmans, it comments, you cannot assume cleverness is good, for the highly intelligent is rejected for the simple God-fearing, because they transgress the law. This is highly significant in a Hellenistic context that admired intelligence. So, apparently, whoever wrote this part of Eerdmans wants to say that intelligence was not as valued in, I guess, Israel.
Well, maybe it was valued, but like that's not the thing that mattered.
It's wisdom.
Yeah.
Ben Sira observes that wisdom can be both positive and negative. Hence, one who fears God is better than a shrewd sinner. Such a statement in Hellenistic context invited mockery, given the Greek emphasis on intelligence. Earlier Jewish tradition illustrates the evil potential of knowledge, e.g., the serpent's craftiness in Genesis 3:1, and Jonadab's clever but unscrupulous use of intelligence to enable Amnon to seduce his sisters.
Yeah, that was a weird story.
Yeah, it was 2 Samuel 13:3.
Yeah.
Share it with your Christian family.
And we
members.
also have our review of the Deuteronomistic history, which is there too.
Yep.
That's very long though.
Yep.
Anyways, better is one that hath small understanding and feareth than one that hath much prudence and transgression and transgresseth the law.
Transgresseth.
Transgresseth.
Aggressive.
Transgress.
Gresheth.
I'm gonna stop.
Wow.
I'm gonna stop attempting to say this word.
Good job.
Transgresseth. There we
did it.
go. Thank you. There is a subtle form of craftiness which is unrighteous, and there is one that dealeth tortuously to gain a judgment, and there is a wise man who justifieth the judgment. There is one that doeth wickedly, yet humbly and mournfully, but inwardly he is full of deceit. Another one of those liars. Maybe it's a fool.
Your verse 25 had a wise man?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm guessing that's a gloss because
There
it
is-
is in brackets.
Shrewdness, but keen but dishonest, which turns to duplicity to win a judgment.
Yep.
That's my verse 25.
Yep. And then right after that, I have that verse, that part of the verse, I should say.
Weird.
There is one that doeth Yeah, I already read that one. Then for verse 27, there is one with downcast look, pretending to be deaf, but when unobserved, he will get the better of thee. And if for want of power he be hindered from sinning, will do evil when he findeth opportunity. An ultimate opportunist, you could say. A man is known by his appearance, and a wise man, when thou meetest him, is known by his face. A man's attire and the laughter of his teeth, and the gait of a man proclaim the things concerning him.
Yeah, his hearty laughter.
Okay.
So there's just one bit of commentary here. Although Ben Sira realizes that appearances can deceive, he insists that one can know another person by examining three things: clothing, laughter, and gait.
I don't think you can judge a person by all that.
No.
But, there's...
Yeah, I have no idea what anyone's doing, even if they're thinking or what they're thinking when they're doing that, you know.
Whoever maintains this cautious realism refuses to give up on the necessary task of making judgments about the character of those whom one comes into contact. Some books can be judged by their covers, as everyone knows all too well.
What?
I don't think so.
Except for those children's books that are like The Cat and It's Meow, which is about those things, I'm very certain. There are a few exceptions outside of the children's genre.
But you still, you shouldn't say a book is good or bad.
Well, I can judge what a book is probably about by its cover.
Yeah, that's about
it. Look at this cover. I think this book is about the
wisdom of Ben Sira.
And, this other part of the cover
Yeah.
even tells me more about the book.
Yeah.
And then the back here tells me about different books.
Yeah. The ones in the series.
Yeah.
Of Anchor Bible Commentaries.
So, and if I know Patrick W. Skehan and I think he's a wise dude, then I might be able to judge this book as being all right.
Well, yeah, you could.
But outside of that, I mean, if you're judging a literary work by its cover, that's probably no good.
But either way, Ben Sira is totally okay with it sometimes.
Yep. As we all know.
As we all know.
As we all know, it's appropriate.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was the end of chapter 19 and the end of our reading for the day. If you guys enjoyed the show, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't, share it around, get more people watching this, I guess. Let's see what else we got. We have a Patreon, $1 a month.
It'll get you all those video scripts.
Yeah.
If you don't want to listen to this guy's voice,
seriously,
and his
suck.
video about the canonization of First Enoch,
yeah, if you just want to read about it,
then you can pay us $1 a month, and you get
It's
access
there, yeah.
to it. It's all there. You can do it.
Yeah, we have video scripts. Let's see what else we got. You could get entered into t-shirt giveaways. You could get any books we publish. You could be on the show. Yeah, you can join us for hangouts. You can do a lot of cool stuff. Just link is in the description. Patreon.com/Milwaukee Atheist or MKE Atheist. I think it's MKE.
It's in the description.
It's in the description.
We also have an Amazon wish list.
We do.
It's full of books that we could use on this and other shows.
Yeah, and also, if you want to add stuff to this table, or if you want to make our other videos really good by adding more sources, we will read through the books and we will use them.
And as I mentioned before,
you are investing in your own entertainment.
Yes.
And your own education.
As
your
I
own
mentioned
knowledge.
before, we are also doing that $666 donation drive. What are we at right now, Lawrence?
We are about $46.
$46.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
Wow. Well, once we hit 666, we're going to be getting a thetan meter. We're going to go deep into the Scientology. Woo!
Yes, and also when it's safe to go place in public, when things open up again, we'll see how that goes. Because the world is just not getting very good.
Yeah, it kind of sucks
It's
right now.
kind of getting worse and worse, actually.
Yeah.
It looked like it was going to get better for a while, but then people got annoyed, and then it got worse again. So second wave. But
Isn't
anyways,
that how it always happens?
yeah, isn't it? Anyways, yeah. Then at that point, we're gonna do the alchemy thing that we said we would do, and that's a thing that we plan on doing.
And hopefully we don't get mercury poisoning.
Yeah, whatever.
If we do, I'm going to blame Lawrence.
That's fine. Let's see. What else we got? We have a Teespring, too.
Yeah, we got wacky and fun T-shirts up there.
We also have Facebook and Twitter, and it's free to follow us on those.
Yeah.
I've been posting a lot more recently on Twitter.
Yeah, they're all run by Lawrence. Lawrence does our social media. If you want to...
Great at the social medias.
Yeah, if you want to harass Lawrence, it's the MKE Atheist Twitter handle.
Yes. So that is... That's that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the show today. Thanks for joining us. And you know what? We will see you on Sunday.